She found his second phone. What was on it destroyed everything he built. 7 years of marriage. 2 kids. A house in the suburbs. Gone in 90 days. But here's what made this different. She didn't just leave him. She made sure karma delivered personally. Sarah had always trusted Marcus. 12 years together, 7 married, and not once did she question where he was. He worked in finance, long hours were expected. Those late nights at the office, the weekend conferences, the business trips to cities she'd never visited. She accepted it all because that's what marriage meant to her. Trust. But that Tuesday morning in March, everything changed. Marcus had left for his morning workout, forgetting his gym bag on the bedroom floor. When Sarah picked it up to move it, something fell out. A phone. A phone she'd never seen before. Her first thought was innocent. Maybe it was a work phone. Maybe he'd just gotten it. But when she pressed the home button and saw the lock screen, a photo of Marcus with a woman she didn't recognize, their faces pressed together, smiling like they shared a secret. Sarah's world stopped spinning. But here's where most people would break down. Sarah didn't. Something clicked inside her. A switch flipped from victim to strategist. Over the next 3 hours, Sarah learned everything. She figured out the password on her 3rd try. Their anniversary date. He wasn't even creative enough to use something she wouldn't guess. The messages went back 18 months. 18 months of lies. The woman's name was Jessica, a 28-year-old who worked at his company. But here's what really got to Sarah. It wasn't just an affair. Marcus had created an entire alternate life. He told Jessica he was divorced. That Sarah was his ex-wife who he co-parented with. That their house was actually Jessica's apartment on weekends when he stayed over. The lies were so elaborate, so detailed, that Sarah almost admired the effort. Almost. She found receipts for jewelry she'd never received. Hotel bookings in cities where he'd claimed to have business meetings. A separate credit card she knew nothing about. And then she found the bank statements. $47,000 in a hidden account. Money that should have been theirs. If you're watching this and your stomach just dropped, that like button lets me know you're with me on this journey. Now let me pause here. Because what Sarah did next separates this story from every other revenge tale you've ever heard. She didn't confront him. She didn't call her mother crying. She didn't even tell her best friend. Instead, she put the phone back exactly where she found it, made Marcus his usual breakfast, and kissed him goodbye when he left for work like nothing had happened. But behind that calm exterior, a plan was forming. Sarah had a degree in accounting that she'd never used after the kids were born. She understood money. She understood paper trails. And she understood that the best revenge isn't served hot with screaming matches and thrown dishes. It's served ice cold, documented, and legally devastating. That afternoon, while her kids were at school, Sarah made 3 phone calls. The first was to the most expensive divorce attorney in the city. The second was to a private investigator. And the third? The third call would change everything. She called Jessica. But wait. What Sarah said in that call? That's coming. And trust me, you're not ready for it. The private investigator delivered more than Sarah expected. Within 2 weeks, he had photos, timestamps, and locations. Marcus wasn't just seeing Jessica. He'd introduced her to his coworkers as his girlfriend. They went to company events together. Holiday parties. Weekend barbecues. For 18 months, Marcus had been living 2 complete lives, and everyone at his office knew about Jessica. Everyone except his actual wife. The investigator also discovered something else. Jessica wasn't the only one. There were text messages to at least 2 other women, though those relationships seemed less serious. Marcus, it turned out, was a serial cheater with a talent for compartmentalization. But here's where it gets interesting. Remember that divorce attorney Sarah called? Attorney named Victoria Chen. She specialized in high-asset divorces and had a reputation for being absolutely ruthless. When Sarah showed her the evidence, Victoria smiled and said 5 words that Sarah would never forget. "We're going to destroy him. Not legally, of course. But financially? Professionally? Socially?" Marcus was about to learn that karma doesn't need fists to deliver a knockout blow. But here's what nobody saw coming. Remember that call to Jessica I mentioned? This is where the story takes its most dramatic turn. Sarah didn't call Jessica to scream at her. She didn't call to threaten her or tell her to stay away. She called to befriend her. That's right. Sarah called Jessica, introduced herself as Marcus's wife, and instead of anger, she offered sympathy. "I know this isn't your fault," Sarah told her. "He lied to you too. He told you we were divorced. You're as much a victim as I am." Jessica was shocked. She had no idea. Marcus had shown her fake divorce papers. He'd created an elaborate backstory about custody arrangements and co-parenting struggles. Jessica had genuinely believed she was dating a divorced single father. And now? Now Jessica was furious. Within an hour, the two women had exchanged everything. Screenshots, photos, receipts, voicemails. Jessica had recordings of Marcus making promises about their future, talking about marriage, describing the house he was going to buy her. With Jessica's cooperation, Sarah now had enough evidence to prove not just adultery, but fraud. Hidden assets. Misrepresentation in a community property state. If you're still watching, subscribe now because what happens next in this saga? It's about to get so much more satisfying. 60 days after finding that phone, Sarah was ready. She had documented everything. Bank statements showing hidden accounts. Credit card records revealing secret expenditures. Private investigator photos proving the affairs. Jessica's testimony ready to go. Voice recordings of Marcus's lies. And one more thing. Something that would ensure Marcus couldn't just walk away and start over somewhere else. See, Victoria Chen had discovered that Marcus's company had strict morality clauses in their executive contracts. Conduct that brings the company into disrepute was grounds for immediate termination and forfeiture of stock options. Marcus wasn't just an employee. He was a senior vice president with $230,000 in unvested stock options. Stock options that would vanish the moment his company learned what he'd been doing. But Victoria advised patience. If they played this right, they could time everything perfectly. The divorce filing. The company notification. The social media exposure. Everything would hit Marcus at once like a perfectly choreographed demolition. And the best part? Sarah would film his reaction. Not for evidence. Just for herself. A keepsake of karma delivered. D-Day arrived on a Thursday. Sarah chose it specifically because Marcus had a board meeting that morning. At exactly 9 a.m., Victoria Chen filed the divorce papers citing adultery and hidden assets. At 9:15, an anonymous email arrived at the company's HR department with attached evidence of Marcus's conduct. At 9:30, Jessica posted on LinkedIn a detailed account of how she'd been deceived by a senior executive who'd shown her fake divorce papers. She tagged the company. By 10 a.m., Marcus was pulled out of his board meeting. By noon, he was escorted from the building by security. By 3 p.m., his access to the hidden bank account had been frozen by court order. Sarah watched it all from her living room, phone in hand, refreshing LinkedIn to see the comments rolling in. Former colleagues expressing shock. Industry connections distancing themselves. Jessica's post went viral within hours. 20,000 views. 50,000. 100,000. By the end of the day, Marcus had lost his job, his stock options, his reputation, and access to the money he'd hidden. He came home to an empty house. Sarah and the kids had already moved to her mother's place. The divorce was finalized in 4 months. Community property state meant Sarah got half of everything, including her share of that hidden account. The morality clause meant Marcus forfeited every penny of his stock options. His reputation in the industry was destroyed. 3 different companies that had been recruiting him withdrew their offers after seeing Jessica's LinkedIn post. And Marcus? He tried to blame everyone but himself. He blamed Sarah for being cold. He blamed Jessica for going public. He blamed the company for overreacting. He never once took responsibility for creating this entire situation. Last Sarah heard, he'd moved to a different state, working a job paying a third of his old salary, living in a 1-bedroom apartment. Meanwhile, Sarah bought out his share of the house. She started her own accounting firm. And she's been on 3 dates with a man she met at her kids' soccer games. A widower with 2 kids of his own who treats her like she deserves to be treated. But here's the part that really gets me. And I saved this for those of you still watching because you deserve the full story. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, Marcus tried to reach out to Sarah. Not to apologize. To ask for money. He claimed he'd fallen on hard times and needed help getting back on his feet. Sarah's response? She forwarded his email to Jessica. And Jessica? She posted that too. Another viral moment. Another round of public humiliation. Marcus never contacted Sarah again. Some people never learn. They spend their lives taking shortcuts, betraying trust, building houses of cards. And then they're shocked when it all comes crashing down. Marcus thought he was the smartest person in the room. He thought he'd figured out how to have everything without consequences. But karma has a way of balancing the scales. Sometimes it takes 18 months. Sometimes it takes 60 days. But it always delivers. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. Was this revenge too harsh? He made mistakes, but did he deserve to lose everything? Here's my perspective. Marcus didn't make a mistake. Mistakes are forgetting